entitled ER Waiting Room Pushes a Nurse Too Far. 2 years ago, my mom had the first of 2 strokes that left her disabled and eventually led to her death 19 months later. She'd complained of a headache for a few days, and I'd asked about going to the ER, but she said it was getting better. The next morning, she displayed symptoms like she had with a previous stroke, confusion, shuffling gait, etc. Not the usual symptoms, but I knew. Since an ambulance would take her to the worst hospital in the county, I convinced her to get in an Uber with me to go to the doctor's office, really to the ER, but she would have refused if I said that. By the time we got to the ER, I knew would treat her well. She was having trouble walking, so I grabbed a wheelchair and wheeled her in. I told the front desk her info and that she was having the symptoms of a stroke, then went to sit with her. About 3 minutes later, a nurse came out and took us right back to a room. Apparently, there was a lot of grumbling from the others in the full waiting room, which I was too stressed to notice. A friend was coming to meet us, and she had to sit in the waiting room for a few minutes. She shared the rest of the story. She arrived about 10 minutes after we were taken back and walked in to hearing people complain amongst themselves. Eventually, people were going up to the desk angry, saying it was unfair. Some of them had waited for hours and my mom had gotten special treatment. I guess some even raised their voice because the nurse who'd gotten my mom heard them from the triage room and stormed out into the waiting room. He outright yelled at everyone about how people are seen in order of who is sickest, and that woman who was taken back right away had a stroke and there was a very limited amount of time to save her life. A few people tried to keep complaining, and he yelled again that anyone unhappy about it could walk right out the door and go to any of the other dozen-plus hospitals in the metro area. He then called a security officer down to make sure no one started any further issues. Moral of the story, if you go to an ER and they mail you wait, be thankful. It likely means you're not going to end up disabled or dead.